from the St. Peter's Missionary Baptist Church to give our invocation for the night.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Appreciate the opportunity. Let us pray. Father, in the name of Jesus, we come unto you with a bowed head and humble heart, seeking your divine direction. We present ourselves as empty vessels before a full fountain, asking that you will fill us with your divine spirit of truth. Help us to understand the charge that each of us have been given, which is to love ye one another. Give us the mindset to recognize the greatness that you have given unto us through this establishment of this magnificent country, the United States of America. Allow us to pause and realize that through unity there is strength, but a house that is divided within itself will certainly fall. Give our officials, federal, state, and local, the wisdom required, coupled with compassion, patience, and perseverance to lead and guide this community, state, and federal government to its highest level and potential. Hear our prayer, O Lord, and may the words of my mouth and the meditation of my heart be acceptable in thy sight, O Lord, my strength and my Redeemer. Amen.
Thank you, Deacon Woolfolk. If everybody wants to go ahead and have a seat, we cannot officially gavel the meeting till 6 o'clock, and according to the clock, we have a couple minutes, so. This time, we'd like to call the meeting to order. This is the regular business meeting of the Indian River County School District School Board. This time, I'd ask you to please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag and the presentations of colors by Sebastian River High School Naval Junior ROTC under the direction of James R. O'Neill, Master Gunny Sergeant, USMC retired.
Left, color guard, oh, order, colors, ready, cut, about, face, Colors. Ready, cut. Present. Arms. Ladies and gentlemen, please remove your hats and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Carry. Colors. Ready, cut. Post. Colors. March. Post. Colors. And salute. Ready, 2, post, march. Forward, march, left, 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 right, color guard, halt. Forward, color. Ready, cut, halt.
Thank you, students. At this time, just want to mention that, as you can see, Dr. Adams will be joining us in a few minutes after the input on the superintendent. In her stead, Carter Morrison, Assistant Superintendent, will act on her behalf. At this time, I'd like to ask for adoption of the orders of the day. Mr. Morrison, can you state for the record why the superintendent is requesting to add Action E to the agenda?
Action E has to do with the termination of an employee. At this time, we're asking the board to add this to the agenda so that this matter may be addressed in a timely manner.
Thank you, Mr. Morrison. This time, I will take a motion.
I'll make a motion to adopt the orders of the day with the amended item E.
Thank you, Ms. Simchek. Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Ms. Jimenez. Ms. Simchek, would you like to speak to your motion?
No, thank you.
Ms. Jimenez, your second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? 5-0, Ms. Stang. There are no presentations. At this time, we'll go ahead and start our community input on the superintendent search. This was set for a time certain of 6:10, and it was the floor was to be open for input for up to 1 hour, so we will go till 7:10, I believe. We ask everybody. If you have not, you can still sign up. Mr. Fritz, the assistant superintendent at the end, he's got a sign-up sheet. You'll need to see him, okay? And we hope everybody will get a chance to speak. He's got the order in which they received him for this time. I'll have Mr. Fritz call the names, and he'll also let you know who is next in line. Mr. Fritz?
Yes, Leslie Spurlock is first, and Gene Waddell, you'll be next.
Did I mention that? Okay, and I'm sorry, before you start, listen, we decided we are going to set a time limit of 3 minutes. That is not to be, we don't want to interfere with your thoughts, and we don't want to be draconian, but we want to make sure everybody gets a chance to be heard. So we would like to let you know, just try to restrict them to 3 minutes, okay?
Yes.
Okay, go ahead.
Good evening. Thank you for this opportunity. My name is Leslie Spurlock, and tonight I'm representing the School Health Advisory Committee. We do have some recommendations for qualities for a new superintendent that I'd like to give you. We would like to have that person understand and believe in the impact of health and socioeconomics on learning. They should have experience advancing a culture of health and wellness. They should be approachable and accessible and value the SHAC expertise and respect recommendations from the committee. They should be receptive to utilizing community health experts and resources. A child's physical, emotional, social, and mental health directly affects his or her capacity to learn. Families, schools, and government agencies are limited in what they can do to address the health issues of youth. When expertise and resources of families, schools, and agencies in the community are combined, the challenge of improving student health can be achieved. Thank you very much.
Next is Gene Waddell, and after that will be Luke Flint.
Thank you, board members. I doubt my being here surprises you on this issue. I would like to say that what we are looking for from the charter schools is someone who has had a positive charter school experience, not somebody who's familiar with charter schools or been in a district of charter schools. Since Dr. Deering, we've been through about 5 or 6 superintendents, none of which have been real positive and supportive of charter schools. They've been tolerant, but not supportive and cooperative. And we just asked, since all 5 of your charter schools are A schools and high performing, that you do those students and those schools a favor by having someone who is very positive towards the charter schools and would be supportive of what we do and help us help you. I'll be short and sweet, and that's really, you know why I'm here. Thank you.
Luke Flynn is next, and Liz Cannon will be after that, and Cindy Honey will be after that.
Good evening, Luke Flint, President, Indian River County Education Association. When I heard that there would be time allotted for citizen input, specifically with regards to superintendent search, I tried to spread the word to teachers and let them know that I hoped that they would attend, but also that I would be willing to share the input of any teacher who wanted their input heard this evening but could not make it here in person. It is that input that I'm getting ready to share with you. These sentiments do not necessarily reflect my thoughts on the superintendent search, nor should they be seen as IRCEA's position on the search, as I did not limit my invitation to IRCEA members only. With that being said, here's input from teachers in the school district of Indian River County that I'm sharing on their behalf. Honesty, flexibility, strong communication skills, strong knowledge of educational trends, willingness to do what's in the best interest of students, even if it flies in the face of DOE policy. The candidate should have no conflict of interest. A superintendent who is from out of the district. We need a fresh start. We need new ideas from successful districts. A superintendent who will review the insurance department and work to help people who are retiring soon and current retirees understand their options and prices for insurance. An instructional leader who truly understands that teachers are second only to students, that what is good for teachers is also good for students. Someone who has the stamina to stand up to the status quo in this district and change the attitude to become one of support for classroom teachers. Someone who will stop the constant changing and focus on solid curriculum programs while providing employees extensive training and support. A superintendent who can realize that the teacher evaluation in this county is flawed and to make strides to align Indian River County with other counties in Florida. A superintendent who looks at what Palm Beach County does, has decided when accepting new charter schools in the county. We can learn from them. We don't have to reinvent the wheel. A new charter school must prove that they are filling a void that has not been met at any other school. A superintendent who is not afraid to eliminate administrators, county office and county-wide, who are in positions where they are no longer effective. We need a superintendent who makes in-service days meaningful. Not now it is a one-size-fits-all type of in-service. We need a choice of types of in-service to attend. We need a superintendent who brings community back to the schools. By this I mean offering classes at local schools, such as Palm Beach County does. These classes can be simple computer classes, classes for seniors on how to work cell phones, classes on cooking, classes on gardening. They vary in length and are taught by members of the community who specialize in the particular area. I think it is extremely important for the superintendent and all members of their team to spend at least 3 days teaching in a classroom and taking over all responsibilities of the teacher without the teacher's help. Only in this way can anyone understand what it is to teach in this day and age. She should understand the burden that the state is putting on teachers and students with these new standards. And then I have just 2 more quick sentences that I can finish, or Liz can come finish either. She should look to the amount of time that is spent on testing and give back the time to teach in the classrooms. She should understand that the Marzano evaluation system with its VAM scores is unacceptable. And finally, be open to all sides of the situation and have an open forum with teachers at least twice a year.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Are you foregoing your time, Ms. Cannon? Okay. So Cindy Honey is next, and after that will be Anthony Brown.
need a stool.
Vans.
My name is Cindy Honey, and I have been teaching in the district for 12 years. I teach first grade at Treasure Coast Elementary School. I have been involved with the Learning Alliance through wonderful people like Barbara Hammond and Liz Woody, and they've provided, like Luke was saying, staff development, much needed staff development that is meaningful for our teachers. And on top of that, resources for the teachers. We need a superintendent that will continue this collaborative adventure. And in education, we don't say adventure, we say adventure. We need to keep our relationship with community organizations such as the Learning Alliance, and they've helped our schools accelerate learning, transform culture, and they do that in a way that supports teachers, administrators, and the schools. When they first started coming into the schools, we were kind of nervous, but after a while and working with them, they asked us what we needed, what our kids needed, what our schools needed, and they worked with us, and we basically came up, we worked as a team to meet the moonshot moment. They supply funds for extra training, extended school academies for children, resources, and much more. In fact, just the other day, I called Liz Woody for a book on innovative collaboration, and she got the book that day and brought it to the school for me to read so that we can start another PLC at our school. The most powerful thing about this whole collaborative thing that we've been doing with Learning Alliance in the community is being involved with Dr. Adams personally. She's come into my classroom many times, not just for a few minutes, but for a long time. And then she sits with us afterwards to talk to us about our strategies and the methods that we use in our classroom and what we need to do to be better teachers. And we sit around a table together with the Learning Alliance and other members of the community, administrators, and we all actually talk and come up with ideas, and we share our day together and our jobs and what we need, and it's truly been a great experience. It's changed my life as a teacher. I can tell you I wake up in the morning and I know that this is the profession that I want to be in, and it's made me a better teacher, a more effective teacher. Let's see, I got lots of cards. I feel more confident, more effective, and better connected to my colleagues and my principal and our superintendent right now. Effective leaders need to find innovative ways to get the community involved, and sometimes magic happens and the community comes together with our schools with a passion for taking action. Real quick, I brought you each a giraffe.
I was just thinking I was missing one of those. Completes my collection. Thank you.
One more thing to say. The reason that I brought you a giraffe is because giraffes are magnificent animals. They stick their necks out every day to reach the food that other animals cannot reach, and that's what we need from a superintendent. A superintendent that is going to stick their neck out beyond mediocrity and take care of the teachers and the students and the administrators of this district. Thank you.
Thank you.
So next is Anthony Brown and then Freddie Wolfort.
Good afternoon. Anthony Brown, President of the Indian River County branch of the NAACP. We hope that you will seek out and find someone that understands the diversity of Indian River County, someone that understands that Indian River County is under DSEG order and also an agreement with the NAACP, that you find someone who is not going to allow that our school district go back to segregation based on charter schools, that is be applied equally, openly, and honestly, and that all entities are included in all decisions, that they come from outside so they don't bring any agendas, that they can look at what's going on in our district openly, honestly, and with a fair heart. We also think that they should be able to interact and nurture all of the organizations, the unions, teachers unions, CWA, and other entities in the county so that Indian River County can grow, be prosperous, and be what we were intended to be, and leave, as I stated further, leave all agendas to the side and understand that we're not in a unitary status, that we are under a court order, and that we under an agreement with the NAACP, and that we be brought to the table with all decisions. Thank you.
So next is Freddie Woolfolk, and then Judy Miller will be next.
What is expected of the next superintendent? Number one, a person that's community-minded, willing to work with all the stakeholders throughout the county. 2, a person who is a good listener. 3, a person who's highly visible. 4, an experienced person in working with similar demographics. 5, a person who exudes the strong stance of fairness. 6, a strong leader. 7, the willingness to carry out the school district of Indian River County, educate and inspire every student to be successful, to serve all students with excellence. That's what we're looking for.
Next is Judy Miller, and then Lamare Norta-Gialomo.
Good afternoon. I'm Judy Miller. I'm the CEO for Big Brothers Big Sisters of St. Lucie, Indian River, and Okeechobee counties. But I was so glad to walk in here tonight and see that Moonshot Moment banner up in front of your dais, because I think if there's one thing that Fran Adams has done as superintendent and you as board members, it's to coalesce the community around a very, very important movement and stretch goal. And I'm here to say that I hope whoever you hire next will continue that effort. It's such a critical thing to have the grade level reading by grade 3. And part of that is the collaboration and the community spirit that all of you have brought to the schools, open, visible, and really welcoming to all of us who may be outside but want to come in and help. And that's really, really important. I see someone in a superintendent who surrounds themselves with great people, knows how to delegate and trust who they surround themselves with, someone who's a great communicator, both a listener and someone who's good at speaking, high expectations, student-centered, and certainly teacher and employee-centered as well. And you know, I think that when you look at what's happening here right now, truly the goals that have been set for 2018 are stretch goals, but with the right leadership and people like you in those chairs, they're going to be reached.
After Ms. Norta-Gialomo will be Deborah Seeley.
It's okay, I'm used to it. My name is Lamar Noter-Giacomo, and I come with a little different perspective. I'm the mother of 6 children, 4 of whom are now married. They have experienced homeschooling, private and public education. 3 have graduated from Vero Beach High School, 2 of whom are nurses, thanks to the strong nursing program they have at the Vero Beach High School. And one from the charter high school last year, my daughter Megan, who was Soccer Player of the Year, Treasure Coast Soccer Player of the Year, which was awesome. She graduated from the charter high school last year. I have 1 school-age child remaining at home and 3 grandchildren currently in the Indian River County public school system. My main concern for them is that they receive, well, my main concern for them and for all the students of Indian River County is that they receive the highest quality education without interference or harassment from the federal government, including, but not limited to, excessive and oppressive mandates, the assault on their privacy, values, and dignity, and interfering with the ability of teachers to teach according to the best interest of each individual student, which is destroying morale in the classroom for the teachers and most importantly for the students. Concerning qualities for our new school superintendent, I think the most efficient use of my 3 minutes is to simply list qualities that are necessary in order to best meet the needs of our students. There's a bill currently in drafting that has a House sponsor, Representative Tobias, and also in the Senate, Senator Hayes, that will illuminate some of these ideas from Chris Quackenbush from Lee County. Okay. We need current legislation favorable to a learning environment that is friendly and not hostile to the values that have made America unique and will give our United States Constitution its proper place in the history courses of our students. First and foremost, the superintendent should be one who has a firm grasp of the time-tested principles of our Constitution, committed to its defense and that of our unique republic in the education of our students. Secondly, the education of our students should include the highest available standards backed by a solid reproducible research, which by Bill Gates' own public admission does not include the grand experiment known as Common Core, also known as Florida Standards. From a September 27, 2013 Washington Post article, Bill Gates, who has invested billions of dollars in Common Core, said in an hour-long interview at Harvard University, "It would be great if our education stuff worked, but that we won't know for probably a decade." Our reading standards must include phonics-based instruction for grades K to 3. All teaching should be developmentally appropriate, and language arts must include a proper balance of great classics, poetry, fiction, and nonfiction. Our math standards must be taught using standard algorithms, which can be defined as the most logical, efficient way that consistently works for solving problems. Many parents have encountered confusing and convoluted math while trying to help their students with homework. Confusing and convoluted is not the equivalent of rigorous, efficient, and most logical. Our superintendent must understand that students and teachers have been inundated with federal mandates, including the hyper-testing schedule, that eats up approximately 40% of valuable class time, robbing them of valuable educational time, and relegating our talented teachers to the role of mere facilitators. Our children deserve better. Thank you.
After Ms. Seeley is Amy Bunnell.
Good evening, board members. Matt, Charlie, Claudia, Dale, and Sean. My name is Deborah Seeley. I currently serve on the Imagine Schools South Bureau Governing Board. In addition to all the qualifications that are mandatory and that you find to be necessary, a superintendent must possess and understand fully why parents utilize school choice options, for charters especially, and must support them in their choices to do so. Although there will be many challenges in the days ahead, there should be no drawbacks to a superintendent for supporting its charter schools, especially the ones we have here. A good superintendent should know and understand, embrace this thought. So we ask you to definitely look for that. We would like to have a superintendent that would direct staff to collaborate with charter staff when making changes in processes. This would allow our charter schools to have a say in the process that would directly affect them. Somewhat of an open door policy. Finding a superintendent that clearly understands that the most important thing above all a district can do is to serve its children, not protect its prerogatives. And this will be a tough job for you all. Lastly, I'd like to make a personal comment. It's been my experience that most traditional public school employees in the United States consider charter schools to be the enemy, and to find a superintendent that actually promotes charter schools would be like seeing your local post office display a FedEx poster. I feel finding a superintendent who is open to all type of learning is crucial to our district's overall success. That being said, with the current board sitting, I feel very positive about this search, and we look forward to working with each one of you to share our ideas so that together our children can all benefit. Please include us in your selection process. Thank you.
After Amy will be Beth Miller.
Yes, ma'am. Hang on just a second. I just wanted to, I keep hearing the door open. If there are people who have come in after the meeting started, we're in the portion of the meeting set aside for thoughts on public input on the superintendent search. If you would like to speak to that, if you can make your way to Mr. Fritz on the end, he has a sign-up sheet. There's still time to sign up. We still have a good bit of time left. So if anybody had come in for that, please see Mr. Fritz. Thank you, Ms. Manoff. Sorry.
Thank you. My name is Amy Banov. I'm president of the Board of Directors at Sebastian Charter Junior High School, and I'd like to offer another charter perspective for you. We hope the candidate will be familiar with and supportive of public charter schools, understanding that this new person will be the superintendent of 2,200 plus or minus charter school students in this district. The new superintendent should, one, recognize the benefits charter schools bring to our district as schools of choice. Two, Appreciate that some students will thrive in a charter school who would have languished at a traditional public school. 3, embrace charter schools as partners, not adversaries, in providing education to all our public school students. 4, promote respect and inclusion among the district staff towards the charter school personnel and our students. 5, facilitate cooperative efforts to benefit charter school students. But 6, also accept charter school innovations as a resource for the traditional learning models. 7, provide a method for charter school viewpoints to be included in district conversations on policy and decisions affecting our charter school students. We are very fortunate in Indian River County, in this district, to have good charter schools. We need a superintendent who will garner the pride in the success that our district-sponsored charter schools have, and as a positive reflection on our district as a whole. Thank you for your time.
So after Ms. Miller will be Ray Oglethorpe.
Hi, good evening. My name is Beth Miller, and I'm the principal at North County Charter School. And it's interesting for me to be the end of the line of charter school speakers, I believe, for this evening, because I can echo every one of those interests and perspectives. And so I'm going to just be very brief and say the biggest thing that we need as a charter school group is that we need the superintendent to understand her or his own vision to serve all students with excellence, and to understand that the 2,200 plus charter school students are included in the word all, and that they deserve the same level of communication, they deserve the same level of respect, and the same level of interest as the regular traditional public school students, because in addition, the charter school students may not always be charter school students. They may be a traditional public school student at one time or another, and you would not want to do them a disservice during the time that they spend with us. So thank you for that consideration.
After Mr. Oglethorpe will be Diane Fannin.
Thank you very much for the opportunity to speak to you today. You know, my take is we have something unique and wonderful happening here in Indian River County. Thanks to an enlightened administration and who said yes a while back, and 2 mothers who proposed a public-private partnership with the school district by bringing in best practices, evidence-based curriculum, and world-class teacher training to bear on helping our K through 3 graders learn how to read. We have in just 5 years reached over 250 teachers and trained them, all in 13 elementary schools that now reach nearly 4,000 kids per day, all without a single extra dime of taxpayer money. Of the 169 communities tracked by the Campaign for Grade Level Reading, only Vero Beach started out as a local initiative with the community actually inside the school district. All that is due to Dr. Fran Adams, who said yes to the public-private partnership and embraced this moonshot moment goal of having 90% of our 3rd graders read at grade level by 2018. Due to this unique partnership that we have here, Indian River County has been the subject of a PBS NewsHour segment, has received 2 Annie A. Casey Pacesetter Awards, has been visited by numerous academic institutions and foundations, and just 2 weeks ago was filmed for an upcoming documentary on literacy. Most important, though, is that these programs work and are really reaching the kids. But even more important, they've inspired nearly 40 community partners to come on board and work within the school district to make this Moonshot Moment goal happen. We as a district and community cannot afford to fail in this effort just because with the retirement of Dr. Adams. The new superintendent, in my opinion, and I think all of our opinions, needs to embrace and build upon what is happening here, not just to take off in some new direction. They will need to be a strong leader like Dr. Adams, who will generate trust, transparency, and enthusiasm in the district and community that has resulted in, just through the Learning Alliance alone, contributing $6 million in private philanthropy over the last 5 years that has gone back into the school district. The new superintendent needs to be the collaborative partner who is willing to innovate and learn, not blame. And finally, we need a superintendent who will embrace the new child-centered culture that's developing in this school district, that is dedicated and is accountable to having 90% proficiency as the norm, not just for the very few. We have something unique happening here in Vero Beach and Indian River County that has never been achieved by any school district of this size in the United States. If we can make this moonshot moment goal happen, Vero Beach and Indian River County will clearly become the literacy capital of the United States. I hope you'll help us find a superintendent who will get us to that goal. Thank you very much for your time.
After Ms. Fannin will be Althea McKenzie.
To speak after Ray. My name is Diane Fannin, and I'm the principal at Indian River Academy and also a parent of a student at Indian River Academy. And I feel really honored to have an opportunity to share for a superintendent who will be my boss. So I want to just share that Dr. Adams really encouraged us as school administrators to embrace our community and to seek innovative ways to bring success to our schools. She left that open for us based on her school demographics and our needs of our school. So the key traits from my perspective as a building administrator is to maintain this embracing our community partnerships. We need to keep this momentum going for our Moonshot Moment goal of 90% of our third graders by 2018 being proficient in reading. It's monumental. It's exciting as a school administrator. These community partnerships have also challenged me as a school leader to seek out innovative ways to lead success to our schools. We're not going to keep doing the same thing, getting the same results. We need to try things. And our community has a lot to offer and has been really encouraging as a school leader. Also, really a huge part of it is the inspiration. Our community support, Learning Alliance partnering with us at Indian River Academy has really provided me, my staff, and my students and families with opportunities that we'd never had before. Professional development, innovative practices, and really a support that inspires us that we're in this together, and we need to embrace this partnership. So I hope that you keep that in mind. Thank you.
After Ms. McKenzie will be Diane Parentella.
Hopefully you can hear me. Good evening. My name is Althea McKenzie. I have served on the Parent Advisory Board on the previous supervisor, LaCava, and also Fran Adams. One of those programs that also looks at different input and making sure that parents from different aspects are giving information. The superintendent's job is probably the hardest job, the most multifaceted job that is in Indian River County. They're accountable for our children, and I think that needs to be our forefront as far as focusing on education. Being on the Parent Advisory Board and watching the change in curriculum needs, one of the concerns that I've had and I have with my current children is that during the transition of the school district trying to choose a curriculum, a lot was lost. A lot of morale was lost, a lot of connectivity was lost, and children are right now feeling over-tested and parents are feeling overwhelmed. We need a superintendent who's not going to all look at the foundation of Indian River County, but also be willing to take a quantum leap into the future. We have some needs. We have some deficiencies that we've been explaining away for years. Between PowerPoints and statistics, but we really need to focus back on our curriculum, becoming competitive, and being collectively involved. Retention with the teachers, the workers, building back the morale, not having a superintendent who sits in a 20-foot tower, but someone that actually is on the ground connecting with the classroom, with the students, and to resolve this district school campus tension that is happening between CWA, between all of our people that really contribute to every single component of what's happening. For participation, we do need more community involvement and parents. And also, I would encourage the school superintendent to get involved in the recent economic development assessment and the child's needs assessment. The foundation of that success for our community comes from this particular component. Our K through 12 will contribute to the future of Indian River County for the next 20 years. We also need to make a bigger commitment towards innovation, technology, diversity in programs, and take a look at some of the programs that have worked and still require need. It's my understanding that a lot of students are very interested in our technical trades, but they're limited at this time. We also need motivation for every facet, for our parents to come back into the classrooms, for PTAs to be more involved than just selling cookies. We also need to look at what is a vision that we need for our community. What do we need to look like in 20 years? And what are the things that we can do? We must put children first and not sway to politics, popular or unpopular opinion. Let's start pushing forward and start taking care of our kids. Thank you.
And after Ms. Parentella is Helene Castletine, and that is the final one who signed up.
Good evening. A little bit from the teacher's perspective. I didn't really have much prepared tonight, but I did want to take this opportunity to speak to you. We need a superintendent. We've heard it a few times tonight talk about morale. We need a superintendent who is going to repair the fractured relationship the district has with the teachers. Contract negotiations have been to impasse for the last 6 years. I would know because I've been sitting across the table. So I'll just remind you that teacher working conditions are student learning conditions, and if we are going to move this district forward, then we need to get the teachers on board, and we have a long way to go to repair that relationship. Thank you.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman, board members. Helene Castletine, Economic Development Director with the Indian River County Chamber of Commerce, and I would tend to agree with the comments that have been presented so far. And we also support the district's Moonshot Moment, and I'll tell you why. And it's very simple, is that today's children are our workforce of tomorrow. And that is the primary reason, and I think it's a very important reason. And I would hope that the new superintendent continues to support this initiative. We think it's very, very important. So that's my comments, brief as they are. Thank you.
We've had a couple of additional people sign up here. So Barbara Hammond.
Thanks for this opportunity. I just wanted to add a few things that I thought weren't mentioned. Of the 40 community partners, and you see several of them here, the Education Foundation, the Boys and Girls Club, Big Brothers Big Sisters, the Chamber of Commerce, the museum is here. I have personally spent the last 5 years trying to convince the community to join hands with the school district, and the reason I can is because we've had a superintendent who has been completely transparent. And that it has given motivation, because in a country where our leaders are disappointing us, where we feel like our federal government and even our state government is making legislation that doesn't really understand what's happening on the front line, the community leaders that we have convinced to come on board are coming on board because we are able to talk to the frontline teachers and say, what do you need, and customize solutions. It is citizens grabbing back the power and feeling for the first time that we are empowered. So this transparency has enabled the community to do no shame, blame, but what do we need to do to move together? And without that transparency, these people would not be here today. So thank you very much.
Michael Kint is next, and then Molly Steinwald.
Good evening. I had not planned on speaking. I really came to be in support of Moonshot Moment, who is well represented. I'm in a unique position by virtue of the job that I have with United Way, of sitting on a fair number of community collaboratives and initiatives. And the discussion about the new superintendent has come up in any number of them. But when I realized that although best intentions were, I think someone might have come and addressed beyond this particular Moonshot Moment, critical, preeminent collaborative, I'd like to state what I hope is the obvious. I think in this particular instance, you've seen how other entities, representatives, individuals, businesses can make a critical difference in the lives of the students in the county, and I know that's what you're all about. I think that there are other opportunities that either already are on the cusp of reaching out to you or developing, and I think in the end, it's all good for the school system, but it is primarily good for the students. I think the superintendent that you hire hopefully will certainly continue the work that's been accomplished with the Moonshot Moment. But I think there are a lot of other opportunities that maybe haven't come to the front yet that will, and I hope that both you as folks that the superintendent will need to work with, and I'm sure will, as well as the superintendent, him or herself, will embrace those opportunities. So generically speaking, Mental Health Collaborative, a movement coming, Kids at Hope through the Executive Roundtable. There's a lot of good stuff out there that is starting to take root, and I think that they're going to play a role in any number of ways in the community. So kind of winging it in that, I think there'll be other opportunities, so I hope that the superintendent and this board will embrace those groups and those initiatives and collaboratives in the same way that you've so effectively done so with the Moonshot Moment. Thank you.
So Molly is the final speaker on the list.
Hi, I'm Molly Steinwald. I'm the new executive director of the Environmental Learning Center, having just moved to Florida 2 months ago, so this is all very new to me. I have, with the Environmental Learning Center, our mission is to inspire people, it's to educate people about the environment and science, it's to enrich people's lives, and it's to inspire stewardship of the world. And it's an interesting time with Indian River County and Vero Beach, particularly with the major environmental issues going on with the lagoon. And some of the things that I'm very excited about integrating here, and one of the aspects is working with the Moonshot Moment group, is really changing the way informal learning institutions are working with formal learning institutions to transform the connection between people and the environment. So it's not just education in classrooms, which may not seem to be related to real life problems. It's changing the way we are teaching in the classroom, outside of the classroom, so that everybody realizes that all of the work that they're doing, all of the things that they're learning are about environmental health and human health, building for the future. So in support of the Moonshot Moment, we've worked with them on a Literacy for the Lagoon project this past summer, and we'll be continuing with them in the future. And I'm thrilled with the superintendent, whoever will come in next, that will realize the value of formal and informal learning institutions for the benefit of human and environmental well-being. So thank you very much. I'm excited to join you.
All right, it doesn't appear that we have any more requests to speak. Just on behalf of the school board, I'd like to thank you all for coming out. I'd like to thank you for your thoughts. I'd like to thank you for your interest. We understand and we fully appreciate the importance of the task before us. We think we're going to have a very qualified group of candidates. We are very confident we're going to come up with somebody and enter into contract with somebody who will make you all proud. Again, thank you all very, very much for coming out. It is now time for the citizen input portion. I'd like to give us just a minute, if you will, just because I know there's some folks who will be out, and we want to hear what you thought, hear what your thoughts are. All right, we'll move on to citizen input. Our first speaker is Geneva Beasley.
Hi, my name is Geneva Beasley, and I'm a bus driver. And all that was well and good about the teachers, but we're CWA, and Mr. Fritz, the morale at transportation for the last 8 or 9 years has been downhill. They overworking the drivers. We're doing double runs. Drivers are being stressed out. They are not coming to work because they're stressed. I'm coming to work and I got a sinus infection. My boss called me yesterday. I didn't even answer the phone. I don't know who's having them to call me unless Mr. Fritz having them to call me. But I didn't come yesterday because I was sick. But I'm not from this county. But I came here and got a job here because I like the environment. But now I'm thinking about moving because the morale is so bad. We don't get no respect. I'm speaking for the CWA, for the drivers, the maintenance, the teachers' assistants, custodians. We don't get no kind of respect. And Mr. Fritz want to give us a 2.0 raise. And I don't think that's fair to us. That's like an insult. And we deserve something better than that. We are the backbone of this school district. And I think we should be accomplished something better than that. And that's all I have to say.
Our next speaker is William, and I apologize, Boulette. Somewhere near there.
Hello, everybody. My name is William Bolot. I work for Indian River School District. And since 8 to 9 years, we do not receive any raise, but they treat us like we are nobody. From last year, the school district sit down on the top $12 million. I don't know what they do with it. We serve all the students with excellence, very safety. We transport them from point A to point Z. Since 8 to 9 years, we do not have any raise, but you're sitting on the top $12 million. What is going on? We have to work without no raise. United States Department of Education give you $12 million. You're thinking about it. You could do whatever you want to do with it, but think about us too. You have to remember we need to raise all those students we help them to success for the future. We don't want to see all those students in the morning time before they go home, go sleep. We don't want to be fight with them. We're not only a driver, we training them more than a teacher because we fight with them all the time. We work. Some of us have a blood pressure. We should never have a blood pressure. We don't get paid for it. Just, I want you to think about it, and do so for everybody. It doesn't matter who. Everybody needs a raise, like all of them, like all of y'all. Thank you.
Our next speaker is Joe Kraus. Mr. Kraus still here?
I don't see him.
All right. Our next speaker is Barry Jenkins.
Good evening. I'm here to speak on workload and fairness. As I go across the district, I go to several schools. Morale is down in the district for support staff. So many jobs have been lost due to the budget over the last couple years. The economy is getting better, but for us not to get any incentive as far as exemplary, we lost that. We lost in service points. Where's the motivation? It's hard to have people show up every day and do the very best that they can do and want to do the best for the district. But that little pat on the back, it's not enough anymore. We're here for the kids, and we love our job, and we're happy to have a job. Our department has lost 4 people. We continue to do that workload with nothing in return. But we do it because we care, and we take pride in what we do. And a lot of people say, wow, I didn't know you guys did all that. Guess what? We didn't either. It's time to be fair. Constantly we hear about teachers, teachers, teachers. Don't forget about support staff. We're here for the kids as well as they are. We just want to be treated fair and be recognized as an individual, not a title. Thank you.
Our next speaker is Tanya McDonald.
Good afternoon. My name is Tanya McDonald, and I work for the Transportation Department. And I only have 2 questions to really ask you all. My first question or concern is, why is it so hard to be fair to everybody? Not just the teachers, not just to the mechanics, everybody. Why y'all just can't be fair toward all the employees in the district? I can't understand what's so hard about being right and being fair. When it comes down to allocating raises and saying a simple thank you, like Mr. Boulay say, we're more than just a bus driver. We're the babysitters. We the cleanup crew. When they sick, we the nurses. We see them in the morning, early in the morning. We see them late at night. Sometimes we have to pull over on the side of the road and wait for a parent to come and get their children, and we don't even get a thank you from a letter, a recommendation, or nothing. And it's just really sad. And, you know, and like I said, I've been working for the district going on 11 years next month. And the morale over at the Transportation Department has really, really went down. And I'm one that comes to work all the time. Now lately, I've been taking off because I'm stressed out, I'm underpaid, not appreciated, and it's just really bad. You know, I don't know how many of you all sitting on the board here and over there had a decision to make. Should I pay my mortgage or should I pay my light bill? I don't know. Have you ever had that decision to make? I don't know. Has anybody? Guess not. And like the lady said, I feel like a giraffe. I'm stretched. I'm at the top trying to do the best I can. I love my job and I love the kids. And that's why I get up every morning and come to work, because I love my kids. And, you know, when I see them, they say, oh, Miss Tanya, I'm so glad that you're here. And I tell them the same thing. But deep inside, I'm saying, man, if I could just find another job somewhere else. But, you know, I put the best on the outside because I love the kids and I love my job and I love what I do. But it's just not fair that we don't even get a thank you or appreciation, or, you know, they want to give us a half a penny. I don't know how you can cut a penny in half. I don't understand that. I've been trying to figure that out for the longest. How you cut a penny in half and distribute it among 800 or 900 people? You can't. So, you know, my plea to you all is that when you guys are considering allocating funds out to departments and everybody, think about the support staff, not just the people on the top. Think about the people at the bottom that made you all at the top.
Our next speaker is Amy Banoff.
Good evening again. As president of the Sebastian Charter Junior High School, I just want to remind you a little bit about charter schools and our communication with the district. 20 years ago, charter school movement was just a concept. It was new It was untested in many places, including in this county. It was unwelcome. In 2015, charter schools are no longer new. They've been tested, and we are becoming an important part of our educational system fabric. When charter school legislation passed in 1996 and the first 2 schools were begun here in 1998, our school board was wary, but you followed the law. And our district has maintained careful discernment in issuing new charters to new charter schools. However, there is still a lot of effort needed to remove the barriers that charter schools face. Our district has 5 charter schools providing public education from elementary through high school, 2,200 plus students, 12% of our public school students in the county. Unlike some other districts in the nation, Indian River County can boast successful charter schools, providing high-quality education. You've previously heard the desire for a charter-friendly superintendent, but the superintendent's role is only one element needed to properly address the needs of charter schools within the framework of the district's authority and its obligations. The school board members are equally important in hearing and guiding charter school matters. Recently, members of the governing boards of the local charter schools met to discuss common issues and the formation of an association to provide a unified voice on charter school matters. We believe this will facilitate better communication between the charter schools and the school district. It is our hope that the school board will listen to the input charter schools have on district issues as you represent all the public students in our district. Thank you for your time.
Next speaker is Charles Wilson.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman, school board members. My name is Charlie Wilson. I live at 2134 18th Avenue in the city of Vero Beach. I used to say that. And I'm so pleased that finally I get to come before you with a non-controversial matter. All my controversial matters have been either resolved or moved to a different venue. We don't have to do that anymore. I'm here to announce and to ask the support of the school board for an educational opportunity. This Vero Beach Chamber of Commerce, who I represent this evening, arranged to have a visit by 2 tall ships, Columbus replica ships, the Nina and the Pinta, will arrive here on March the 5th. These ships are so large that they have trouble getting under the 17th Street Bridge. We have to wait till low tide to get under the 17th Street Bridge and high tide to get to where the dock is. Because with all the water we have in Vero Beach, there's nothing that's 7.5 feet deep all the time. So these ships are wonderful. They're one's 85 feet long, one's 65 feet long. They have 3,000 feet of sail. They're exact replicas of the Columbus Voyages ships, and they are promoted by the Columbus Foundation. They are nationally recognized, and we're on the schedule right now. We're looking for anchorage. We're having to work out the details of the anchorage. There's only 2 places in all of Vero Beach that can take a ship that size, and one is the power plant. The last time they were here, they docked at the power plant, but that was before Homeland Security had to do with it. So Homeland Security is having to review the ship. The reason I'm here this evening is that the ship arrives on the 5th, and there'll be a welcoming meeting with which all of you will be invited to. But on the 6th is set aside for school children. That is a Friday. It is set aside for school children to visit. We'd like to be able to organize field trips from classrooms that like to do that, and we need the school's help to do that. We've been before the charter schools. They'll be contacting you about renting buses. I want you to also know that we have the Vero Beach Chamber of Commerce has set aside or set up a fund, a scholarship fund. You can at verobeach.com, verochamber.com, 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 and where we can pay the $5 fee for any student that wants to go that can't afford the $5. So if you'd like to help us do that, we're going to try and get as many children to go see what American history is about, and we hope that, that you can join us. I have sent an email to the superintendent, and I don't know what step to go next other than to let you know publicly that you're welcome, and this is the day, the 6th, and we need to organize that. So I'll take direction from anybody who wants to give it to me to help these kids get on board these wonderful ships. Be a great event for the city of Vero Beach. Thank you for your help.
Thank you, Mr. Wilson. That concludes, we do have one item, citizen input, but the request has been to speak before the action item. Mr. Wilson, I do think it'd be entirely appropriate for the school board chair to meet the ships at the. I wouldn't try to spur a dog, but I just think it would be appropriate for the school board chair to meet the ships at the county line and be able to ride in on them. I just think that.
I think so too. And actually, you can help because they come in the Fort Pierce Inlet. And the last time they went under the 17th Street Bridge, we had to get everybody on one side to tip the ship a little sideways so that they could get under. So you can be helpful.
Yeah, I'm very space with ballast. Thank you.
And for information, I'll leave the information sheets with the clerk so that your staff can have access
to it.
Thank you, Mr.
Wilson. Before we move on, we don't normally respond to citizen input, but Dr. Adams, I know you did have a couple thoughts.
I do want to bring, because we have so many people here from CWA, I just want to make it clear about what is on the table. And I think it's important for you to hear it from your board and your superintendent that you are very valued and that we appreciate the work that you do every day. We want you to know what's on the table, and we want you to know that last year everybody in the district did receive a 2.75% increase in pay, and this year actually CWA is the only employee group that we have offered a raise to at this point. It is a 2% across the board, so all employees in CWA would get a 2%. Plus, there's $125,000 set aside for performance pay or for performance bonus for CWA. And one more thing that, as other employee groups have done and CWA has not accepted it yet, we have $144 additional board contribution toward your health insurance. So we want you to be sure that you have all the information, and we're going to send this out to CWA members to be sure that they understand what the board has been willing to put on the table for the valuable services that you provide. And once again, I'd like to mention that this is the only employee group that we have any pay raises on the table for. So,
thank you, Dr. Adams. We'll move on to the consent agenda. I'll take a motion at this time.
Move approval.
Thank you, Ms. Jimenez. Do I have a second? Second, Ms. Simchek. Ms. Jimenez, would you like to speak to your motion?
No, thank you.
Ms. Simchek, your second.
No, thank you.
Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? 5-0, Ms. Stang. Moving on to action agenda item A, the approval of a 2014-15 class size reduction compliance plan. Dr. Adams?
Thank you. Actually, Mr. Morrison and Mr. Green are going to both speak to this. Class size is a complicated matter, and so I'll let Mr. Morrison start.
Thank you, Dr. Adams. Section 1003.034A of Florida statutes requires a reduction in class size categorical funding for districts and charter schools that are not in compliance with the class size requirements established by the Florida Constitution. The same statute, 1003.034C, authorizes the Commissioner to recommend to the Legislative Budget Commission by February 15th this year an alternate reduction amount if there is evidence that the class size requirements were not met despite appropriate efforts to do so or because of an extreme emergency. After the completion of the appeals process, up to 5% of the base student allocation, not to exceed 25% of the reduction amount, will be reallocated to traditional public schools, charter schools, and district-operated schools of choice that are in compliance with the class size requirements. The remaining balance will be restored to traditional public schools, charter schools, and district-operated schools of choice that are not in compliance with the class size requirements but have submitted a certified plan by February 1, 2015, explaining the actions a school will take to ensure compliance by October of this year. What we have tonight before you, Board, is a request to approve the such compliance plan that is given to us by the Department of Education. I will now kind of pass the ball to Mr. Green to discuss the details of the plan. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Morrison. Board, you should have received a memo from the superintendent regarding some of the technical challenges in reporting class size. This compliance plan, both issues that we have, this compliance plan is addressing data issues and submitting to the DOE that we are implementing a new student information system for the following school year to rectify those issues. Normally, this compliance plan would be for districts who need to build new buildings or hire new teachers if they are greatly over class size. But the plan before you is to just submit to the DOE that we are implementing a new student information system, and by having this approved by February 1st, as Mr. Morrison just explained, we are then eligible to receive a portion of that penalty back that we're estimating is in the blurb. Around $2,212 is the estimated penalty. I believe last year we were over 1.06 at Vero Beach Elementary, and we had no fine applied after that compliance plan was submitted.
All right, I'll take a motion at this time.
Move approval.
Thank you, Ms. Jimenez. Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Frost. Ms. Jimenez, would you like to speak to your motion?
Thank you for this information. I do, this is one of those examples of some of the ridiculousness that we have to deal with the state. We were over 0.45, and we have to spend inordinate amount of staff time coming up with a plan and worrying about $2,212 when we have so many other important issues. It's just an example of what happens and an opportunity for people to please get involved in terms of contacting your legislators and making sure that we don't continue to get bombarded with more of these types of mandates. There are 97 bills that have been filed so far this legislative session that can impact school districts. We really need to collectively do something about it because this is compliance, but what's important is what's happening with our kids. So this is just an opportunity to vent a little bit as a board member because 0.45 FTEs is just spending a lot of district time and money. But of course, we have to do it, and I will vote for it.
Ms. Frost, would you like to speak to your second?
No, it's all been said.
Mr. Searcy.
The question, make sure that I understood, Mr. Green, this new system will be up and running at the beginning of 2015-2016 year?
Yes, sir. It's actually up and running for the Adult Education and Technical Center today. They're reporting their data on it, and the rest of the school district will be on August.
Good, thanks.
Any further discussion?
Call for the question.
Hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? 5-0, Ms. Stang. Next item is item B, the approval to award RFP 2015-05 to Midstate Mechanical for the replacement of the chiller at the Vero High School Flick. Dr. Adams.
Thank you. B and C go together. This is the RFP for the Midstate Mechanical, and Mr. Morrison can give you the details of it, and then C would be the agreement. So, Mr. Morrison.
Thank you very much, Dr. Adams. As published in the January 16th Friday update, the Freshman Learning Center's chiller replacement is one in a series of district-wide chiller replacements in the board's 5-year capital plan that was approved on September 9th this last year. Due to the reduction in the capital millage rates from 2.0 to 1.5 mils, in combination with a loss in funding due to decline in property values during the Great Recession, several of the district's capital equipment and associated technology are past their useful lives and are in need of replacement and or upgrading. This project is being undertaken to replace the chiller at the Flick that is past its useful life of 10 years. So as Dr. Adams indicated, the first item is to complete the procurement purchasing process with the award of the RFP, and then the second item is the actual contract for the work to be done. Thank you.
I'll entertain a motion at this point.
Move approval.
Thank you, Ms. Jimenez. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second, Ms. Simchek. Ms. Jimenez, would you like to speak to your motion?
No, thank you.
Ms. Simchek, your second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? 5-0, Ms. Stang. Item C is approval of owner-contractor construction agreement with Midstate Mechanical for the replacement chiller. Dr. Adams.
Okay, Board, you just approved the RFP. Now we're asking you to approve the contractor construction agreement with Midstate Mechanical.
I'll make a motion to approve the contract.
Thank you, Ms. Simchek. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Ms. Jimenez. Ms. Simchek, would you like to speak to your motion?
No, this is just Part B to this plan, and I appreciate it.
Ms. Jimenez?
Yes, I just want to thank staff for their thoroughness in giving us the total cost. We've got not only the amount for the contract, but also the engineering fees, which are usually estimated, and that really gives us a full picture of the total cost to expect. So thank you for your responsiveness to our requests.
Any further discussion? Mr. Searcy?
Comment. In the contract there, I guess, we're going to be using that owner direct purchase program. I think a gentleman told me this afternoon, and that's a huge savings to the district. And all of that product they're going to be buying is still a part of the contract. So we're saving an awful lot of money, and maybe we can give some raises or something. I don't know if we can work that out. That's up to you now. But thank you for being so tight and trying to save us that money. Thank you.
Any further? Mr. Frost?
I would just like to also second Ms. Jimenez's gratitude for the board to the staff for presenting it in a manner that this project nerd can appreciate, and that the total cost of the project and the exact deliverables and efforts. And one thing, you said the life is 10 years, but we only forecast for 5. I know that with 97 bills, the legislature makes our lives tough, but is that our capital plan is for 5 years?
Yes, sir. School districts are required to do a 5-year forecast. Some districts actually take the initiative and go beyond that.
Okay.
However, it is difficult to project revenues 10 years out. That's a little bit difficult.
Thank you. And my experience is in the property management realm that, a roof is 25 years, and we begin budgeting today and funding reserves tomorrow, and it'd be great if we could get to that. But I appreciate making tough decisions in tough times, and thank you.
Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? 5-0, Ms. Stang. Item D, the approval to piggyback the Northside Independent School District's bid number 2014-117 and issue purchase orders to Biorad. Yeah, Dr. Adams.
Last year, Board, we opened up 2 STEM academies in biotechnology, one at Sebastian River High School and one at Vero Beach High School. And that was actually one of the deliverables in the federal race to the top. And so this year is the last of the dollars to be spent for that. So the $30,000 for supplies for each of these labs will come out of those dollars. So we're asking for approval to piggyback on this bid for those supplies.
Thank you, Mr. Frost. Do you have a second?
Yes, second.
Who was that?
Me, Dale.
Ms. Simchek. Mr. Frost, would you like to speak to your motion?
Well, no, I just I appreciate that that this is all coming out of Race to the Top money, and that it's not out of our general fund. And of course, I love science as a former science teacher. So,
Ms. Simchek, would you like to speak to
It's great that we can offer this, and it's exciting.
Yes.
Any further comments or discussion, Mr. Searcy?
Just a quick question. Ms. Adams used the word STEM for those who might not know what we're talking about.
Okay. I appreciate that. Science, technology, engineering, and mathematics.
Perfect. Thank you very much.
Having seen no further discussion, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? 5-0, Ms. Stang. Before we move to item E, we do have one request for citizen input on this item. Mr. Harry Davis.
Hello, my name is Harry Davis. I'm the president of Local 3180 for the school district. And for the last 15 years, CWA been negotiating with the school board about different things, money, language, and everything else. And just recently, we had an incident that happened, and a young lady was terminated. And we're not condoning what she done. What we is up against is that you created a policy and you put it in effect, and you never once said anything to CWA. Let me give you the history on this. Let me tell you what I'm talking about. Somebody came up with this idea about randomly pulling tapes. The tapes basically was used to watch the children. The only time we pulled tapes was if a principal requested, if that driver requested it, or if a parent requested it about something going on with her child. The driver requested if they're having problems with the children on the bus. The principal requested because they are the ones that has to do the discipline to the children. So when they come up with this idea about this randomly pulling tapes and looking at drivers, and they want to use those tapes to discipline drivers, according to my contract, you have to sit down, and when I say you, I'm talking about the board, because that is who we have an agreement with. We don't have no agreement with nor the administrator in this district, but the school board. According to Article 1 and 2, it says that CWA has the right for hours, wages, and conditioning of work. And when you change a CWA employee condition and the way they work, you have to sit down to the table and negotiate it with us. This wasn't done. The administration, HR, handed me some paperwork saying y'all adopt some rule back in August 13, 2013, but you never mentioned it to CWA. Then you jumps up and you said, okay, this lady violated this rule, but not only did she violate it once, they pulled the tape once, and they seen her doing this. They didn't pull her off the bus. They let her go back on the bus the very next day, and she did it again. They didn't do nothing then. We went on Christmas break, and we come back, and they let her get on the bus again and did it for the third time. Then they want to sit down to the table with me and say, oh.
Mr. Davis, that's 3 minutes for citizens' input.
Okay, let me finish.
Wrap up real quick.
I'm not citizen input.
Yes, sir.
I'm doing.
No, sir, it's a citizen input.
On E?
Yes, sir.
Can I make a motion to extend his time?
Yes, please.
Second.
Please, because this is a contract violation.
Time certain, 3 minutes. Dale.
With a time certain.
It's up to prerogative of the board. We need to take a vote.
The chair has the prerogative to extend the time of a speaker. If the chair doesn't wish to do that, the board can override that with a motion and a vote.
It is citizen input. We try to be fair to everybody for 3 minutes, Mr. Davis. If the board wants to make a motion to override that.
I would like to override that for an additional 3 minutes with a time certain, Mr. Harris, please.
Have a second?
Okay.
That's second.
All right.
Sorry.
Okay.
3 minutes.
3
Okay.
minutes.
All right. All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Opposed.
All right.
Okay. 3-2. 3 minutes, Mr. Grustin.
What I'm saying to you is that the reason why they said that they terminated her and they didn't have no other way to do this is for the safety of the children. I question the fact that they are really talking about the safety of the children, or was she targeted because they let her did it 3 times. So now the safety of the children went out the door. The first time she did it, they should have pulled her. Why would you let a person violating the rule that you claim that you got that you never run by the union, why would you let her violate a rule 2 more times? You understand what I'm saying? And then you gonna tell me about, well, we terminated him because, she violated the safety of the children. I don't get that. The main thing I'm trying to tell y'all is that we are ready to go to court about this, because the contract in Article 1 and Article 2 says that any time that you get ready to come up with a procedure that you're going to use against CWA employees, you have to sit down and negotiate it with us. And what we tried to do with Mr. Fritz is to say, look, We're not saying that she don't supposed to be punished, but y'all was just as wrong as she was because y'all allowed her to do it 2 more times. And we don't have a rule in place to say that y'all can punish her. But we willing for her to be punished, to be suspended instead of terminated and retrained with a letter, and this is what we offered, Mr. Fritz, with a letter saying that if we catch you doing this again, you automatically out the door. That's the way that we feel that we should be helping employees, and it's also helping the district because you violated the contract because you didn't run the new rule about the union. And it's agreed upon in here, and I got a contract for every one of y'all to see so y'all can read Article 1 and 2.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr.
For the time. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Aaron.
Thank you.
Okay, item E, the approval to terminate support staff employee. Dr. Adams?
Board members, you have a charging letter in your book that details the rationale for the termination, and I'm asking for your approval.
Entertain a motion at this time.
I will move approval for discussion.
Thank you, Ms. Jimenez. Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Searcy. Ms. Jimenez, would you like to speak to your motion?
Yes, I would. This is really troubling because we are in a situation where the letter that is public, it's a public document, we have copies of it, people can see the copy. This individual was texting while driving with children in the bus. So right there, that is a tremendous concern, not only for the safety of our students, but for the safety of the employee herself, and a tremendous liability to our school district. So that is completely unacceptable. However, and I went in this afternoon and tried, and I hadn't even talked to Mr. Davis, but I had the same question. I looked at the charging letter, and I went in and asked a staff member. There was a violation, and I don't have the letter in front of me, December 11th. There was another one December 12th, and then the next one was January 5th. And after that is when the action was taken. It was explained to me that when the tapes were viewed, all of the incidents came up together somehow. I mean, they viewed it, and so there really was no opportunity for reprimand, because by the time in January that they looked at it, everything had happened. Okay, maybe that's not the complete story. However, as a board member, it leads me to question, what do we do once we approve all of these policies that are going to impact all our employees? And then once we do that, we're always told that there are procedures developed if they are needed for said policies, and that the board, would be kept abreast and so on and so forth about these procedures. So here we have a situation where, according to the CWA, they were not clear on the policy. Staff says there was some kind of meeting in December at some time previous to these violations where there was information about the policies. So it's very difficult to discern what the story is. But I am concerned, and the question that I asked was, if on December 11th there was a violation, what was the follow-up so that there wouldn't be the same violation on December 12th? And so we're in a situation where our children are unsafe, but it seems to me, and I am really willing to be corrected because I am just making assumptions based on the little that I know, because I want to vote in an informed manner and I don't want to just make judgments. So it seems to me that when we have these procedures, we have to be fair with the individual, the child, the teacher, the employee that violates those policies, and transparent process has to be in place such that when I violate the policy, you let me know and I have an opportunity to change my behavior and not do it again. However, I go back to my first comment. This is of such concern. It is so egregious because we're talking about children on a bus. We are talking about children on a bus. And I'm torn. I think the person should be fired out of principle for putting our children 3 times in harm's way by text. Let me finish, please. You had your time, and someone's going to correct my misconceptions, but I just want to share what I understand. However, I am appalled. If it is true, and I do not know that for a fact, I am appalled if our school district did not do their due diligence to make sure the policies were clear, the procedures were clear, and if any negotiation needed to happen, that it happened. Because we're put in a very unfair situation. In the case that those things were not in place, we're going to have to decide, do we fire this person for the safety of our children with the understanding that we're going to fight this in the courts and we're probably going to lose because we didn't do our due diligence. That's the way I see it. I have no monopoly on the truth. This is what I've surmised from the information that I've gathered. So I would like Dr. Adams for an explanation in terms of procedures. What is the district side of this issue that the board needs to be aware of?
I'm going to let Mr. Fritz speak to that since HR did the investigation.
So I can speak to a couple of your questions, Ms. Jimenez. Thank you for asking the questions. For regard to your question regarding whether drivers were informed that there was a policy regarding texting and driving and a state law regarding texting and driving, we have documentation that information was shared with them in the training that occurred at the start of the school year, this past year, 2014. And we actually have signed documentation that the driver who's the subject of this discipline was present at that and received a certificate of completion from that training. Additionally, in a previous year, prior to the most recent update of the policy, drivers were informed in 2009 of the prohibition against texting and driving. They were specifically in writing directed that they were not even to have their cell phones on while on the school bus. And again, the said employees signed a document that made that very clear. So if the question is whether the employee was aware of the expectation and aware through the most recent training that it was a terminable offense, that was made very clear to the employee, and we have signed documentation that that was the case. As for the question regarding the 3 different dates, we became aware of the violation in early January. I believe it was January 6th. Immediately, the driver was pulled from the bus and put on paid leave. The driver, we then, because we only had 1 day of tape, because it was the random check, we then looked at all of the tapes that we had available to us, which is where we discovered that on 3 occasions that we could identify, we pulled 3 tapes. On all 3 occasions, the driver was texting while driving the students on the bus. 2 of those occasions, there were students on the bus. We saw the students on the bus exiting the vehicle, and the texting was a long period of time, in excess of 5 minutes on each tape, turning corners while driving, holding the hand, driving the bus with no hands on the wheel at times, and this is evidenced on the videotape, which we would gladly put forth in a hearing if it came to that. We view the repeated action of the driver and the fact that it was made clear that it was a terminable offense as something that leads to no other recommended action other than termination. So hopefully that will answer your questions.
Just as a follow-up, so should we be concerned with the allegation that there was no bargaining for the process of randomly selecting tapes for review? Does that need to be bargained?
So we have an obligation to impact bargain changes to wages, hours, and work conditions. I did have a conversation with Mr. Gresta about this, and in that conversation, we I think agreed, and you can correct me if I'm mistaken, that we are not incumbent to predict what the union would like to bargain in advance. They need to raise the issue that they wish to bargain with us when they become aware of a potential change in wages, hours, and work conditions. We, until this evening, I heard a request here at the Marquee, and I've not had conversation with Mr. Davis about this matter. Ms. Edwina Suit, processed this, but we have not received a request to bargain this either at the bargaining table or in an informal conversation. The cameras have been on the buses for several years. The drivers were aware that the cameras were on the buses for several years. It's been several months that the cameras have been monitored consistently on a random basis. However, they were previously, but it's never been raised with us as a request to bargain the matter. And of course, if there is a change to wages, hours, and work conditions, we're glad to bargain that issue.
Just excuse me, Mr. Chair. So what you're saying is that because it's not, what were the three items you mentioned that you bargain? Wages, raises, and?
Wages, hours, and work conditions are the requirements.
So I just want to make sure I understand this. So that means that when a policy is passed and procedures are developed for that policy, there is no need to bargain those procedures because they're not those items. Is that
we don't have
correct
an obligation to affirmatively reach out to the union and discuss that matter with them. However, if upon a policy being approved or a practice being changed, the union comes forth and says, we believe there's a change in wages, hours, and work conditions, we have an obligation to bargain that with them.
Any further discussion?
And my word would be that would be a grievance. At that time when that was noticed, they would put forward a grievance, whether it was,
So actually, grievances are a separate process.
Okay, but I'm saying they might have initiated a grievance if at the time when that policy was in 2013 put into place. But
no.
we have not heard anything about
What they
that
would
policy?
have, I apologize. What they would have put forth is a request to bargain the matter. And we would have had an obligation to bargain that issue with them. Grievance is a separate issue, which is for an alleged contract violation. So if the union or the employee believe that the contract has been violated, there is a grievance process they can follow, which is also within the collective bargaining agreement.
And my point was that if they felt Article 1 or 2 was violated, they could have filed a grievance at the time of the policy, even though it may not have held to.
I suspect that if they believed the contract was violated at that time, they could have also grieved the matter. They also could have filed a request to bargain the matter, which we would have had an obligation to bargain it.
And I have one more question. I thought you had said on the 6th, based on a complaint, that the January 6th review was complaint
I apologize.
generated?
No, it was related to viewing of the video.
Thank you.
Thank you for allowing me to clarify.
Any further discussion? Mr. Searcy?
We can beat this horse to death, but based on my understanding, and it's relatively new understanding, by the way, the superintendent has recommended this personnel action, and it doesn't matter what we say. We have to honor her recommendation.
Mr. Gresta?
We can be sued if we don't honor that personnel request, a recommendation.
Mr. Searcy, the legal concept that you're talking about is with regard to the hiring or transfer of an employee. If the superintendent makes a recommendation to the board to terminate someone, the board can reject that recommendation. It's actually a different standard, if you can believe it. The laws actually give us different standards for hiring employees versus the termination of an employee. So the board does at this point have a recommendation from the superintendent. The board does have the ability to reject that recommendation if there's a majority of the board to do that. You're free at this point to make some sort of a motion, or I guess you have a motion pending to have further discussion as warranted.
Well, I did mention I was new. But
Yes, sir.
Any further discussion? Ms. Jimenez?
Yes, I think after hearing the information and hearing from the district, I am convinced that if the driver was present at the training in 2014 and then again in 2009 and was told that texting while driving was not permissible and a terminable offense, that and the fact that once the check was made and the offense was seen, the district acted immediately. And because this does not have to be negotiated, I am willing to support the superintendent's recommendations. I just think it's important as board members that we ask the questions that need to be asked to make sure we are fair. And I don't believe that in any way, shape, or form it is a disrespect to our superintendent or to our staff. That is our job. And so I appreciate your preparation to answer these questions, and I will be supporting the superintendent's recommendation.
Do you have any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? 5-0, Ms. Stang. On to superintendent's report, Dr. Adams.
Thank you. Board, I just wanted to remind you that this is Literacy Week this week, and there are many activities going on in the schools, and we'll give you a report once many of these activities have been done, but I just want to make you aware of this important, it is important for our children. The other thing I wanted to tell you is I received an email from Principal Todd Racine from Sebastian River High School that they completed the requirements for accreditation today. So they received the recommendation for the next 5 years, and there's a lot of hard work and self-reflection that goes into that process, and so we can congratulate Sebastian River High School. I want to thank the many schools who participated in the Martin Luther King Parade on last Monday. Both high school bands were there, and I thought the school district was well represented, and I appreciated that as well. I also wanted to mention that Vero Beach High School has been receiving, some phone calls regarding the top 10% ceremony, and that they really are committed to honoring students who do excellent work. I talked with, to get an update, I talked with Mr. O'Keefe today. A letter is going home with the report card, as well as a Connect Ed call to the parents letting them know. And Mr. O'Keefe has been working with some parents to come up with some other ways that maybe look similar but are not exactly calculated the way that we've done it in the past because of the new requirements that we have with end of course exams. So he is also inviting the community that is interested in this to come to a SAC meeting at Vero Beach High School, because he's going to take the proposals before them to have the discussion about having another ceremony. And so I do want the community to know that things are changed, because sometimes things are out of our hands in terms of how grades are calculated. And but having said that, there is such a strong tradition at Vero Beach High School. They want to continue to honor those students, so they're going to have a meeting to discuss that. And then last, I want to remind everybody that the Teacher of the Year and the Employee of the Year celebration is this Thursday, and I hope everybody will be there at 6 o'clock, and it's the theme is Transforming Lives, and I know that it's going to be a wonderful celebration, and we'll probably have lots of people from the schools there, so we look forward to honoring our teachers and employees.
That it?
That's it.
All right. I believe we have, Ms. Jimenez has a discussion item.
Oh, yeah, I've been putting on the agenda on a regular basis an update on the superintendent search, because that's just a good practice to make sure the community is aware of what the process is like. Today, we had the opportunity at the beginning of the meeting to hear from our community in terms of the qualities that they're looking for in a superintendent. We also had workshops this morning. In the first workshop at 9:30, the staff talked about all of the different initiatives that are going on in the different departments so that the board is aware of what's happening and what types of programs we need to be supporting and what issues we need to be looking to in the future. We followed that in the afternoon with a visioning session, and I'd like to take an opportunity to thank Ms. Carrie Bartlett, who gave up her time generously to facilitate a conversation to help the board members collectively determine what it is that we're looking for, because we always have to be reminded that it's not about our individual agendas or our individual ideologies. It really is what is best for our district, and sometimes that has to transcend the agenda. So it was a wonderful experience to have everyone come together and for us to listen to each other and hear what each other values and thinks about the search. On February 10th, we're going to continue the conversation. Ms. Stang provided us with a checklist of all the things we need to do, so we're going to consolidate that. The 20th is the deadline for resumes. We've received about 28 or so resumes to date, and on March 3rd, we'll be meeting with our consultant, Wayne Blanton, in order to select the candidates that the board will be interviewing. We recognize that this is one of the most important things besides policy that we do as school board members, and I truly believe that we are up to the task of making sure that we select a leader that is going to bring our community together and make sure that together we can serve our children so that we can truly make sure that it's excellence at the forefront of what we do. So board members, thank you for humoring me on allowing me to speak about this, but I will do this at every board meeting until we make a decision. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
On to school board member matters. Mr. Frost?
I really don't have any. All my committee meetings were canceled, science fair judging is this weekend, and the awards for elementary are Sunday at 3 at the Sebastian River High School PAC, and we encourage all the parents to come out for that and support your kids. And the middle and high school, I believe, are on Wednesday night at 6 at the Vero Beach High School PAC. Mm-hmm. Yes. So, supporting our STEM and science initiatives, those are your opportunities to engage. And of course, I appreciate Ms. Jimenez keeping the superintendent search on the agenda. There's nothing more important we can do. So, and thank everyone for coming in this evening to share your thoughts. And what's interesting is they very much echoed what was brought forth in our workshop. So it's good to know that we're on the right track. And thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Ms. Simchak?
Thank you. First of all, I want to say thank you to all of the people in the community that came out for the Martin Luther King parade. It was a nice time to see so many young children in our community coming out and appreciating the reason for the day and also just communing with each other. I also was very excited to see the support of the charter schools here tonight. My mother used to have a saying, every pot has a lid, and when she would use it with husbands and things like that. But in reality, that when it comes to education, and I think Principal Miller definitely spoke the best to this, that we will never know where our student will be, and that happened to me. My child went to a magnet school, and it served him well. As a middle school student, he did go to Sebastian Charter Junior High. It was a more intimate setting, and he really flourished there, and now he attends Sebastian High School. So after our last meeting, and we had a speaker here who was a teacher, not even on the board, for a charter school, I had a discussion with the president of the Sebastian Charter Junior High School and said, there's 5 different charters, and really they should get together and call it a consortium, a charter consortium, the Indian River Charter Consortium, and really have one voice, because we're having so many voices and so many different issues. You really should have a united voice when you come to the table. It will be more productive. And apparently they met yesterday or today, he had mentioned, Mr. Waddell. So I'm glad to see that perhaps, with some streamlining of communication and moving forward. We had talked again this afternoon about just being infused in so many ways in our community, and I think that is one area that we should promote with our superintendent as well. And I think that we had talked about this today, that we are in a era of opportunity. And it's not by choice, Dr. Adams. We would not have wanted you to leave. But we can look at the time for a progressive leap into the future that will be productive and helpful to the community, and embrace it as something, as an opportunity, and as something positive. Although we'll be very sad to see you go. And we will miss you and the strides you made. And we promise, because you weren't at the discussion, that we will keep those very important things that you had put into place still moving forward.
Ms. Jimenez?
Thank you. Yes, it's been just very busy with Science Fair. Today there's a celebration of the Performing Arts Center's anniversary at Vero Beach High School. An ongoing example of how fortunate we are as a school district to be able to support continuing the arts in our schools. There's a lot going on in the community. I had the opportunity to attend the Kids at Hope presentation at Indian River State High School, Indian River State College. I was glad to see Dr. Torres Martinez and some of the district staff, some principals, some teachers. This is an initiative that one of the speakers actually that spoke to the superintendent qualities portion of our meeting talked about. That is an initiative that will really help our entire community come around to the fact that every child has the potential to succeed. And it's not just schools and teachers and parents that need to see that, but it's our entire community. The speaker that night was Rick Miller, who is the founder of Kids at Hope, and he was just a very compelling speaker. I think that if we are able to embrace this initiative, and that's going to take, all these initiatives take time, but this is an initiative that really would be wonderful for our community. The Gifford Youth Achievement Center is going to be piloting it, and I'm looking forward to seeing how that works out and exploring possibilities with the Executive Roundtable and our community in terms of how we can really make this a part of our school district and our community. And then also it's Literacy Week, and I'm really looking forward to visiting one of our schools and reading to the little first graders. I think that's one of the most favorite things that I do on the school board is when I have the opportunity to visit our schools, talk with our teachers, see them in action, and then every once in a while interact with our students. There's so many great things going on in our schools and in our district, and my hat's off to all of you who make it happen. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Searcy? I just had one item I wanted to mention. A few days ago, the Indian River County Chamber of Commerce, I know we had some folks from the Chamber here earlier. A few days ago, they had their annual meeting, and they give their annual awards to the community leaders, business leaders, and once again, they forgot me. So I'm not real happy about that. But one person they did recognize as award was our own Dr. Fran Adams. She was recognized with the Carolyn K. Eggert Award. And I'll just read the little blurb real quick. Established in 1999, the Carolyn K. Eggert Economic Development Award recognizes an individual who, through their leadership and commitment, has helped to create and maintain quality year-round jobs for the citizens of Indian River County. Carolyn K. Eggert served on the Indian River County Board of County Commissioners and was a staunch supporter of economic diversification. The award was presented to Dr. Fran Adams, Indian River County Superintendent of Schools, for her leadership in establishing the Moonshot Moment program. We all just want to say congratulations. It was well-deserved, Dr. Adams.
It was a big surprise.
We'll turn it over to you now for closing.
Thank you. We're going to close with a video, and I'm going to let Mr. Green introduce. This is about innovation and transformation of a school.
So the video this evening, actually, as you know, one of our elementary schools has been reinventing themselves, and they renamed themselves to Indian River Academy. And after that, the Digital Media Services crew, who thank you for all that you do behind the scenes, by the way, to make all this happen, reached out to the principal and said, let's do a public service announcement, a PSA to help get that message out. And actually the video that you're going to see is a little more than just about the name change. It's about what's happening differently and what's changing at their school.
Do you notice something different? Highlands Elementary has officially changed its name to Indian River Academy. It's not just a name change, though. It's a transformational culture change. At Indian River Academy, staff are becoming empowered through the intentional and relevant professional development to build the frameworks and routines so that the students' social and emotional needs are met for learning to occur. Our teachers' knowledge base and the most effective instructional practices is creating an environment so that our students develop the skills, perseverance, and mindset that they will graduate from college. Indian River State College students and community members have become active partners on our campus and in our collaborative meetings at Indian River Academy. Our students are receiving strong support from their community and school family so that they have the tools and confidence to start early on their college path. The students at Indian River Academy will become our future leaders. We should all take pride in helping to nurture the development of these eventual doctors, scientists, and maybe even future educators. Discover the innovative changes taking place and visit the new Indian River Academy today.
Board members, thank you for everything today. It was a very long but productive day. That will stand adjourned.